What's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
So we've lived through one huge moment, one huge decision in sports. And now we sit on the precipice of the next one. Where will Shohei Ohtani play baseball for the next decade?
Time out. There has to be another one. Wouldn't we count the Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers as a big
decision?
A good one. Yeah,
that's a good one. I would say
but
was.
But I'm with you. Yes, you started with LeBron, and yes, Shohei is going to make a decision, and it's going to be
maybe
a big one.
Lionel Messi.
Yeah, but not Messi going to Miami, because that was a big deal. But Messi going to PSG, I think, was a bigger deal.
And that is exactly what type of level of moment we are at with this signing, this anticipation of seeing Shohei Ohtani in what's going to be a new team or staying with the team, new beginnings in the same city on the other side. There are so many possibilities of what's going to happen with Shohei.
Is he going to be West Coast? Is he going to be Midwest? Is he going to end up on the Phillies? Is he going to end up on, who's in play? Is he going to end up on the Blue Jays?
And full transparency, as we are talking about Shohei Ohtani, the winter meetings, we are still waiting for official word on where the superstar will sign. There are already rumblings and tumblings in the bellies of everybody that it's going to happen at any moment. So as we are having this conversation, it might break left in the middle of it because something has happened and we don't know how to handle the moment in history.
So being clueless to it, all we know is that John Morosi said a source told him that Shohei's decision could come pretty soon.
It's imminent.
This weekend.
Yeah.
But of course, with the physicals involved and final decision, dotting the I's, crossing the T's.
Being official.
It might take a while for it to be official. It does sound like, though, without knowing anything about this, how secretive Shohei wanted to be. It seems like he really wants to keep this in-house to himself, not make it a media firestorm, and probably wants to make a quick decision. And I'm glad it's not something that this is assuming that we'll know by the end of the week where he's playing, but nice that he didn't want to drag this out all winter long and play the leverage game with certain teams. He must know what he wants. So we know that if it were true that he's signing this week, and the fact that he's been secretive, that he's got it narrowed down, and it would make you think at this point it's probably the logical candidates. There's probably not like a weird dark horse. Like, we know some of the teams he's visited, it's been confirmed. We know what he's looking for. He wants a team that can compete right away. There are favorites, but there are some dark horses. And then there is a local flavor to it, because we've been saying for a while the Cubs should be in on him. But reports this week were saying that the Cubs are not in on him anymore. But we don't know because he hasn't made a decision yet.
So to give people a time frame or some type of context, when Bryce Harper was a free agent, he didn't sign until spring training. So the fact that we're getting the decision at this point
we knew
is
where the
accelerated.
tour was going, though, too.
Right. And it's just one of those things where there's a lot of impatient fans and media members right now, but when it comes to the biggest signing in baseball's history, perhaps, it's pretty accelerated. It's only early December, and we're going to have a decision of where Shohei Ohtani is going to play baseball for perhaps the next decade.
I'm wondering, too, if the market is kind of dictating that Ohtani has to make a quick decision because teams are probably holding on to their pocketbooks a little bit. I don't want to spend a lot of money because I want to wait for Shohei to tell us if he's playing or not.
We also now know that a big chess piece has been taken off the board, and that is Juan Soto. So let's take a detour of Shohei really fast and how this impacts him and the rest of Major League Baseball. Juan Soto finding a new home with the Yankees.
Well, and Soto was a trade, so that was a big deal. But also, just keeping with the pitching market, Eduardo Rodriguez signing with the Arizona Diamondbacks really dictated the market. Some of the trades that have already gone through already, of course, some of the signings, Jeimer Candelario. But yeah, Soto is the big piece off the boards. But you still have free agents that are big, like Cody Bellinger. You still have rumors of trades with pitchers like Corbin Burns. You still have the rumor of Pete Alonso possibly being lifted off the Mets and possibly ending up with the Cubs. But I think Shohei Ohtani is kind of linchpinning a lot of it for, I think, some of the bigger teams. The Dodgers aren't going to spend money until they know. And even then, the Mets are probably going to be desperate to sell off some of their pieces if they ended up signing Shohei. But I don't think he's going to end up with the Mets. I think if you were going to rank it, you would probably end up ranking it Blue Jays, number one. And I don't know why. I think just because it sounded like he had a really good meeting with them down in Florida at their facility. I think globally, kind of being East Coast and in Canada is a unique market for him. But I put the Dodgers at number 2 because it's the bigger fish in the pond that he's already swimming in, and it's a team that's basically like a traveling circus of all-star baseball players, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. So you add Shohei Ohtani to that list, that would be really interesting to have him in the lineup. Dark horse, I like the Cubs. I know Mercado is going to say Cubs. I think, yeah, so Blue Jays 1, Dodgers 2. I think I said Cubs 3 because I've always been in on them. I think Mercado said dark horse. You were saying dark horse Cubs for your number 3 if you were going to power rank where you think Shohei is going to land. I said Blue Jays, Dodgers, Cubs.
So the whole Shohei thing of where he might land, I think there's a lot of the nuance you were talking about with these reports of who was in, who was out. We know that Dodger fans and some reporters were worried because of Dave Roberts talks about that they had a meeting with him, and we found out that Shohei wanted it to be very much a secret who he was meeting with. And I think this is where I still keep the Cubs as a dark horse.
But there have been leaks because the Blue Jays were also...
This is where I'm getting at. The only team that has not had that leak yet of that they've had a meeting with him are the Chicago Cubs.
Can we confirm that he met with the Cubs?
Yeah, because Craig Counsell said he has not met with
but did
Shohei
Jen Hoyer or Carter Hawkins.
Are they the only team playing by the rules? By Shohei's rules and saying, hey, we're not saying anything. And I also think for all you wrestling fans out there, the CM Punk use, okay? Remember, for some context, leading up to the big show that they had here in Chicago, there were a lot of rumors. Then the rumors died out because the report came out. They're like, there's no conversations between the company and Phil Brooks.
Yeah, okay.
And apparently, that's when the actual negotiation started. It's when everybody kind of backed off from the Flames, all the reporting and everything, and then the deal got done quickly. I'm wondering, to equate it to here, is how much stuff is getting done so secretive that they're playing the part, whether it is the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, the Angels, the Cubs, where all of this is just for showing. He already knows.
Yeah.
There is already a deal in place. Yeah. We are just doing the wine and dine thing.
Well, deal in place, but probably in principle.
Sure.
Like a handshake. There might be some, goalposts kind of moved. I think if there's truly a decision, he knows. He's probably known for a while. He just probably had to do his due diligence, and I think that's where the Blue Jays are unique to me. That's intriguing.
It is the one
to
weird
me.
team. Yeah,
it's the Dodgers seem likely. The Angels seem like a favorite just because
I think they are the favorite.
Why change the surroundings? Yeah. Anything else like Mets or Mariners or Rangers sounds a little far fetched. Rangers or Braves sounds convenient. Cubs is that weird dark horse because I think they have the money. I think they have the fit. I think they have the unique sort of setting for him. And then they also have Seiya Suzuki, so they can show that a Japanese player can succeed in this market as well.
And a lesser player in Kosuke Fukudome also took over this city for 2 years as a Cub.
So I mean, maybe, but we'll see, and we'll know when we know.
So you want to know my opinion as a Cub fan? As a Cub fan,
but I think right now, point blank, who do you think he decided on?
I think he stays with the Angels. I think the favorite is the Dodgers. I think he stays with the Angels. I think if I were putting money on it before I just said that, I think it was going to be with the Dodgers. I think he stays in Los Angeles.
Yeah. But with the Dodgers instead of the Angels, but you think the Angels are definitely
like they're now.
And I think there's a lot to that. I think for whatever reason the Blue Jays stick out to me because of just that meeting that happened. It seemed like it was positive, so that jumps to number 1 for me. The 2 is the Dodgers because I think that's like the likely fallback on. But I like Cubs over Angels, but I'm with you that the Angels are definitely still in the mix.
So here's a little clue on everything that's going on is the report that Shohei only wants to talk to media days that he pitches. So at the very least, for one season, you're not going to get any real type of interaction if you're a media member with Shohei. So I wonder if media market matters. maybe staying with the Angels, we already know Artie Moreno will let Shohei do that.
Yeah.
That there is going to be nothing like that.
And the relationships already exist.
And there's opposed to...
And even if he goes up to Dodger Stadium...
This is where I think it's a little bit more interesting.
Change a little bit, but they're still there.
It's essentially the same beat reporters. Nationally, it changes a little bit because it becomes even bigger. As big as it was with the Angels, it's like going from...
Oh, yeah. Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani,
exactly.
Mookie Betts,
it just
all
changes.
in the same lineup, you know?
So, and now your
Clayton
teammates have to answer the questions.
Yeah.
So I think... Going to Toronto, how's the media up there? We know that the Maple Leafs are the Cowboys up there. Mm-hmm. So, we already know that they're at the very least the second tier of what's going to be the beat reporters. And it's a more international crowd because it is Toronto and it is such an international city. So, I wonder how much that plays into it.
And I want to argue it against myself because I think East Coast, I don't know if he wants East Coast all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't know if his people want him East Coast all the time. And like you were saying, the Maple Leafs are kind of king. There are other stars on that team. Would he would shine, but would it truly be the best value for him? You know, and that's like, you know, the Mariners are a dark horse too because they always have a great relationship, the Pacific Northwest with the Far East. But at the same time, they haven't been big players in all of this too. So and he seems like the type of dude that's not flashy either. Yeah. You know, I think the initial conversations years ago, I think everyone said, "Oh, he'll be a Yankee. He'll be in pinstripes before you know it." And yeah, I think the Yankees would throw money at him, but I think that's the Soto trade. I think the Yankees knew from jump that they're not in on it, which is why they go and pursue a Juan Soto.
Which is why they have Aaron Judge. That's kind of the
exactly. So and I think Shohei knows this and doesn't want that market. Mm-hmm. Which also might make me think, okay, if he doesn't want Yankees, he probably doesn't want Mets. He probably doesn't want Phillies if he would have ended up on there already. But at the same time, you know, Kyle Schwarber is also a DH there, and you don't need two lefty DHs that can't play the outfield. And then so you start ticking off the guys on Guess Who, and it's like. Yeah, I say Blue Jays number one still, but I can argue against it. I think the safe bet is, like you're saying, he stays in L.A., but I wouldn't rule out a dark horse. And at the same time, we're not talking about the Giants either, and that's a big team in this too.
Well, I think the Giants are going to be much more in on Cody Bellinger, which might affect the Cubs. And we're going to get to the Cubs in a second because, I mean, we really don't need to talk so much White Sox. We'll let you and Devin have that headache.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Jerry Reinsdorf meeting with the mayor of Nashville.
And you and I talked about that off air. There's so much to dig into that meat. But let's stay more fun on the field stuff because this is as more entertaining as we're going to have.
Soto's a Yankee and Shohei Ohtani is probably going to pick a team.
Place. Much more entertaining than Jerry Reinsdorf once again using another expansion city to get a new stadium. Where
wine and dine people to get a new stadium.
So, 100%. So I think if you're looking at what the Cubs and their place in all this, because we bring up the Giants and their play and or lack thereof with Shohei, who's in on Shohei. Now that's Juan Soto finds a new team. If you're looking at Cody Bellinger, you're looking at the Cubs. I want to talk to Cub fans for a second because I think for every team that was legitimately in on the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes, you're going to feel a little let down that you didn't get him. Whatever move you make. Because it is the ultimate. It is, again, the Bulls getting Carlos Boozer instead of Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
You know, it is that idea of like you didn't get Dwayne Wade or LeBron.
But it's, do they go and chase somebody?
If
they don't get Ohtani, is it going to be the letdown because they didn't sign anybody or the letdown because they didn't sign Ohtani?
So this is something that I've mentioned before, but I really want to drive home to Cub fans. I do think this organization, the ownership, Jed Hoyer, Carter Hawkins have earned the right of they're going to make smart moves and they're going to do their due diligence. They do spend money. They just spend it wisely like Dansby compared to the other shortstops.
Mm-hmm. That was such a great move.
When you look at everything else that's going on.
So the Bellinger one too, obviously in hindsight, but the Swanson one, I loved it at the time.
So with that being said and giving them that pass, right, it is important to also put on the table when you bring in Craig Counsell and you spend as much money as you did on him, that you're entrusting him, regardless of what the roster is, regardless of what the payroll may be, that you're going to manage up this team. You're going to use the bullpen wisely and you're going to use the rotation smartly. And that worries me that if you don't get Shohei, that they do seem and they've been reported to be all in on or be very much contenders on, I don't want to see them then retreat and not get anybody or not be active. If you don't get Shohei, I still want you to be active in the trade market. I still want you to be active in Cody Bellinger. I want you to still go and win. Go take the NL Central. I just want to put that out there. That is a possibility that you bring in this manager thinking he is the difference on what a okay or good roster can become a playoff roster, regardless of signing Shohei or not.
I think he summed it up perfectly. I think that the Cubs, Bellinger would be a good option, but don't just go chasing the next best free agent. Like there's a few out there, Bellinger, Ohtani, the rare ones that you can get. After that, don't go sinking money into someone that you're going to regret having in 2 or 3 years that isn't going to move the needle like a Shohei Ohtani would. But I think it's exciting. I think it's an exciting time to be a Cubs fan right now. Anyway, the fact that they're major players in this, the fact that they do have the money for this, and the fact that they're playing with house money for a while if they don't get them. They have a deep farm system. The Cubs are built to win in a weak NL Central with the best manager from that division. And the Cardinals don't scare me, even though they address some of their pitching concerns. Yeah. Lance Lynn was laughed out of town. You think he's going to be the saving grace of that team? Kyle Gibson's getting older. He was fine with the Orioles, a great veteran pitcher. Sonny Gray, great veteran pitcher too. But is that going to be enough to win in the division? You see Corbin Burns might get traded from Milwaukee, and Milwaukee's never really scared me. Pittsburgh doesn't really have the get up and go. Cincy needs a lot of pitching. So this is the time for the Cubs, whether they get Ohtani or not. They've got a deep enough team and a strong enough team and don't have to spend stupidly to have a long-lasting effect on the division. But, of course, baseball is ever-changing, so I look at this at a 2 to 3 year window. Now is a great time for the Cubs, and I really hope they get Ohtani for the sake of how, from a baseball standpoint, from a fan standpoint, how neat that would be to see how he would fit on that team. And then, of course, locally, selfishly, us being able to cover that and see that locally, what that would look like, too.
I think it's going to be fascinating. I think we're going to be super excited. We're going to be all over it. And I think it's just really important, like Paul has been saying, is just don't go chasing something. Don't just stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to. Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Don't want no scrub. Scrub is a
I'm excited for it. Like that's what this is, right? Like
passenger side of his best friend's ride,
trying to holler at me. So that's the kind of vibes it is, right? It's good times in baseball where exciting moments are happening, and if you're a fan of one of these teams, this is what you wait for, is to be in these moments where one moment you're going to check your favorite app, you're going to be listening to your favorite show, and you're going to get the breaking news thing, and your team landed. Maybe not Shohei. Some team will, right? Some team fan base will have that moment. But for others, it will be, oh, Cody Bellinger signed here. Oh, they traded for this guy. Who happened here? And we still haven't seen the trade that is the surprising trade of the offseason yet. That's still to happen.
Well, right now it's Soto.
And even then, we knew Soto was going to be moved.
Yeah, we expected.
So we still haven't seen
like I didn't see that
one coming. Yeah. So we're still at that point of the offseason of the hot
But the
stove.
fact that the winter meetings left, came and went without that happening, other than Soto, it's kind of telling. It's going to be, because now is the dead part. I remember this from every year, just kind of following it closer with baseball. Christmas time, it kind of shuts down. You might get a couple of whispers here and there, a couple surprises, some things that might move the market. But it's like now it's the wait until January for things to really start picking back up again. But we'll see. I mean, there's still time. There's still the lingering weeks before Christmas. There's still the lingering weeks, during Christmas and after the holidays. We'll see what happens with the market. But if Ohtani signs, I would expect the market to start moving quickly.
And that is what we are waiting for. But we want to know your thoughts. Have you enjoyed this baseball offseason, these winter meetings? Where do you think Shohei is going to go? How big of a moment do you think it's going to be? Cub fans, are you worried? Are you excited? We want to know your thoughts. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. You can check out the video version of the show over on YouTube at the Sports Cubicle, or check us out wherever you get your favorite podcasts at Sports from the Couch. And of course, we are on Spotify at the Sports Cubicle. Check us out for WCPT and WSBC. We're all over the world, guys. Please, we appreciate all the love and support, and we hope you guys are enjoying this baseball off season as much as we are. We got more coming up next here on the Sports Cubicle. He's Paul Chivari. I'm Mike Mercado.